Line and wash. Let's do a simple, try and do a simple line and wash. A meadowy type looking Surrey hills in the distance. So let's just start here, just with undulation in the ground. I'm using black acrylic paint with a bit of water in my tray here and a small rigger. Just let the brush go where it goes in the drawing. And maybe we'll have a bit of a path going through there. Very hilly around the Surrey hills. Around More Common, Friday Street, Gomshall, If you're familiar with Surrey, you'll know those places. But this is only a abstract sort of painting of it. But I haven't done one for a while. I tried to do something on Saturday, but I just couldn't get going. So I wasted one sheet of paper, which will end up with an acrylic painting on it at some stage. Right, okay. And great time to go on walks is autumn. Let's just get these shapes of trees going into the distance over the hill here. I'll detail this as I get around to it. Okay, let's do something. Make sure there's not too much water on the brush, otherwise it'll blot or blob. Try to keep, if you're doing a split picture like this, sort of a path, two sides, try to make them different. Otherwise, you're just repeating yourself and it just looks a bit naff. Alright, well let's just put in some trunks. Right. We won't make too much of these. I'll do some with a brush, with the watercolor. That's just a bit of scrubby stuff there. Excuse me, I won't put any ink on in the background. Let's just use some of that there. Okay, let's just stiffen up a little bit of the bushes on here. Just catching the high spots. Right, we'll add to that as we go with the paint, with the watercolor paint, and then we'll. Right, well that's going to be some ivy. I'll save some for the watercolor paint. I've done that. See what happens, it's quite hard to control the brush with the paint on, but we have to turn our sort of, not errors, but our things we could have done better into positives rather than lick our wounds. Right, I won't put any figures in there yet. I'm going to try to remember. Now that's a bit too even up there, I don't like that. So we'll try that, let's just stiffen that up a little bit there. By the time I put the paint on, a lot of this black contrast will disappear. Well, at least the contrast won't be so stark as that. That's gone wrong, but we know that. Right, I use a separate pot for water for this ink. So I don't mix it with the watercolour, because being acrylic it might affect the flow of the watercolour, so I'm wasting all that though. Oh, do hate waste. Right, I'll give that a dry, so take your headphones off, or mute, go. Silly about that really, but it happens. I can go over it with a bit of white acrylic if I need to. But it is a demo anyway, after all. So there we are, dirty palette, left over from the rage on Saturday because I was getting nowhere. It happens now and again. I never find that you have to be in the mood to paint. Once you start, you get in the mood. But there are times when your heart is not really in it, and you shouldn't really paint. I'm going to take this cadmium yellow off. I love it, but it's so overpowering. Being an artist quality, I'm just using the lemon yellow now. Bit more cleaning. just give it a little bit of a clean like that, and I'll give it a spray as well. I just to soften the paint when I find my spray. Always very handy with using acrylic paint, watercolor, just to spray the colours just to soften them. Right, there we go, and swig of tea. This is Fabriano, 130 pound weight, 15 inches by 11. I'm just going to take it down a little bit here. I love painting Surrey scenes. I'm on the edge of Surrey really. We're in the sort of London suburb, but not so far away. We've got, my daughter lives in the Surrey Hills, in a town called, a lovely market town called Dorking. It's a marvellous vineyard there, Denby's, and I've been in a couple of joint exhibitions in the exhibition space there. This lovely atrium, not an atrium, a gallery, looking down into a large foyer with restaurants, and it's a beautiful place. And I believe they make really superb wines. Okay, I think we've got that. No, that's still a little bit damp, so I'll just give that a bit more of a dry. Okay. There's nothing to stop you ever putting some acrylic paint over a watercolour for highlights and so on, special effects, but you can't call it a watercolour, it then becomes mixed media. Well, I'll wet the paper all over. You'll see some bits of paint on the top there, where when I turned the painting over and gave up for the day on Saturday. There's still a little bit of damage, be careful of that. Okay, let's the cloth, you need a cloth, take the excess moisture off. Right, let's take a bit of alizarin in there. Right, now a bit of blue, a bit of alizarin, and a bit of red, light red. They're fairly wet. I want the brush to stay together, so I'm going to just split. Right, a bit darker now. Just so that's light red, ultramarine, and a bit of crimson, a bit of alizarin. Let's get that a bit dark in there. Okay, so that'll do for the sky. Now at this stage I might turn it into a snow painting, but I want it to dry now so I can crack on with the background. So hold on. Right, okay. Some hills behind there, same colour as the sky. Bit of green in the background there. Maybe I'll keep that an autumn scene. So let's have some warm colours in the foreground. So burnt sienna, I love burnt sienna, clean burnt sienna. bit of yellow now. Bit of green. Keep your foregrounds with plenty of colour. To avoid monotony, just to vary the colours, and remember that warm colours come forward. It is autumn after all. Right, well, right, now we'll, now that's a nice bit of warm sienna there, and I tell you that Payne's grey mixes very well with burnt sienna. Can put bushes, all sorts of scrubby grass in here. It's only an impression. Okay, let's just reclip the paper, and while that's sort of drying off there, I'll probably going to put in some flicks here and there. Let's find, whoops, I've got a syringe that I use to convey a bit of water. Right, okay, so we'll put in a bit of blue and green brush, alizarin, bit of blue, bit of sienna, this is the background to that. Those trees, it'll give some perspective, some aerial perspective. Aerial perspective means you create a perspective by the use of colour. So cool colours recede, warm colours come forward. So we'll put in some nice sienna, a bit of burnt umber as well. The painting is very easy once you've done the drawing. The drawing is the thing in this. Okay, I'm going to do similar to the other side. The colour dries a lot lighter than you put it on, so it's worth remembering that, so don't panic if it looks a bit too dark, because it will look better as it dries. Okay, so now we're going to some nice warm sienna. Can always put a bit of green over that, which I will. Right, bit of yellow, bit of Payne's grey, thick paint, sienna. Right, nice green. See, that's what I mean by using the colour, it reduces the intensity of the black-white contrast. I want a bit of air in there. Right, I want some shadow in there now. So we'll assume the light is coming from through there, so we'll bit of alizarin, bit of light red. No, I'll have the light coming that way, I think. Some shadow in here. Right. Bit of a rutted sort of path here. A bit of perspective there. Right, okay, so that doesn't look quite so black now. I'm going to give this a dry. So, mute. Right, now we'll put in some figures. With my figure, not that one. I've got this really worn out thing. I'll just show you my desk. All those brushes, it looks as if I've got a load of brushes that are good condition. They're not really. If you're using acrylic or oil, well, when I did, I can't speak for you, I would use long flats. I prefer long to short flats. I prefer flats, chisel edged. I'm not a great lover of filberts, which they're the slightly rounded edge, but that's just my personal preference. Right, so because of these greens, we need a bit of red in there to catch the to contrast with the greens, a bit of alizarin as well. So we'll put a finger in here. That's going to be quite large, this one, because otherwise it'll look too small against the trees. So let's right, let's just get that a bit. Add a little bit of shadowy colour on that side. I'll put his head on in a minute. Just get that red down there a little bit. And we'll give him a bit of a darkish head because he won't sharp otherwise. Right, okay, let's give him a bit of shadow cast. I will give another one. We'll have him grey here. Oh, a bit darker than that. Okay, so what figures do, even though they're not great specimens, is to add or give scale. You know how big a person is, so you can tell how big the trees are. So there we are. So I can't do much more to that. I'll give it a signature and I'll put it in a mount. Oops. Before I finish, I'm just going to put in some trunks and things in here. So I'm going to do these in blue, so they will look distant. I need to show though. Well, you'll have to give me that bit, that was a mistake, but I don't think it detracts too much from the actual overall idea of line and wash painting. The line really is the black and white contrast, and I forgot to drink my tea. So there we are, that doesn't look too bad. It's a little bit rustic, but let's wind you up, not literally of course. So there we are, another Surrey Hills line and wash. I hope you enjoyed that. Thanks for watching. Have a go yourselves. Don't forget, if you're using acrylic paint, you can use the black or any colour as your line for your background, your drawing. So I might do another one, I might not, but I'm going to finish my cup of tea now. Right, see you soon. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.